Just wanted to check in, and I hope all is well with the TI who show love and have shown support, and to those who have watched the channel and really gave me words of encouragement, even if I wasn't able to reach your comment, or the comment was hidden or my replies were hidden. And I just wanted to say that I feel like after experiencing organized stalking, organized harassment, and these forms of crimes against humanity, I feel like as a TI, we all experience these same things but in different ways. So a lot of us aren't seeing through the same lens. We may go through similar experiences, but we may not be able to put it into words or explain our experiences in the same exact manner as the next TI. And at the same time, that doesn't discount the fact that what we're experiencing is happening and that it's been documented, and that there are whole organizations and groups that are formed to really carry out this agenda, really carry out organized stalking, organized harassment, aka gang stalking, right? And so that's why you have groups like Citizens on Patrol. That's why you have groups like InfraGard. That's why you have, there's so many organizations. I just can't remember it off the top of my head, but just those, for example, right? And so this is really like a conjoined effort of, the surveillance state and the police state apparatus utilizing the public, utilizing the social dynamic and society as a whole to really carry out this agenda, which in reality, they're destroying their own world, you see. And gang stalking increases criminal activity. These perps come into these areas that they wouldn't have even been in those areas if it wasn't for TI and targeted individuals living or frequenting specific areas. And so that's why it's so widespread. That's why it's something that can be carried out on this level. The perpetrators are on a government and intelligence agency and organizational level, you see. And really, when I mention the narcissistic aspect, I see people make videos and mention, well, it's not just narcissists that are gang stalkers, right? And that could be true. But at the same time, really, to me, that's a whole other topic. But that is an aspect that plays into the personality type of a perpetrator, of a gang stalker. And so really the reason why I spoke so much on so-called narcissists, right, is because to even carry out something like this in the first place, you have to be a person that lacks empathy in a great amount. You have to be a person that has no regard for your neighbor, for your family member, for your coworker, etc., for whoever you're perpetrating these things against, right? Because in order to be a perp, in order to be a gang stalker, in order to carry this out against your fellow human being, you have to lack empathy. Now, narcissist isn't the only personality type that I believe is involved in perpetrating, right? But in my case, I've seen that with people who are in positions of authority and who are the ones that are carrying out organized stalking and gang stalking. People that are in positions of authority. This is where you get your fusion centers. This is where, like I said, you get the InfraGard, you get the Citizens on Patrol, you get the community watch groups. So in essence, these are the personality types that would see no wrong in carrying this out, carrying this agenda out. But at the very same time, these are also people who have been misinformed. And I believe, there are perps who know what they're doing, consciously are aware of what they're doing, but there are also people who have been misinformed. So that's why, law enforcement, these people in positions of authority play a huge role in slandering the targeted individual in the first place, to make people feel as if they're doing something that's right. It gives people this sort of conviction that what they're doing is for a good cause and for the safety of the public in America, right? And that's why, and this is another topic as well, that's why I've always said I feel like, organized stalking and gang stalking is worldwide. But in my opinion, I feel like the Most High God is going to judge America the most. So I feel like the plague that is soon to hit America will be something that they really can't recover from. When they talk about the wicked in the Bible, when they mention these type of individuals, when these individuals are spoken of in Psalms, which, I don't have it all memorized. I'm still a scholar myself. I'm still learning myself, right? I feel like a lot of the wicked that are referred to, that the Most High spoke of, these are your modern day gang stalkers. These are the people that are carrying this out on a massive level. These agendas out, these crimes against humanity out on this mass level. And so I feel like I feel like America is really going to be judged for the simple fact that this was able to be perpetrated. And a lot of people feel like they're getting away with it, right? A lot of people think that they're untouchable. A lot of people hide behind their positions of authority. And in this world, it seems like it's backwards. It seems like the people who are supposed to be the heroes, you got police involved in gang stalking. You got the fire departments involved in gang stalking, doing things such as noise campaigns and other things like that. You got EMS. You got people in the judicial system. I've said all this many times. It seems like the people who are the supposed heroes and supposed to uphold justice in this world have all been compromised and corrupted. And it seems as if it was actually never a system of justice from the beginning. It almost seems like society, the way it's structured, is to cater to this sort of thing. And you know how obsessed the so-called, top people are with surveillancing and watching people, So the flock cameras and all of these things that the public are in an uproar about in the recent times, that's nothing compared to the surveillance apparatus that they have in place that goes beyond a camera on a pole. You see what I'm saying? And also I feel like that's why documenting is very important at the moment. I have damage to my phone that keeps me from being able to record. And also, I know there are a lot of TIs out there who have, moved to many states when it's come to the targeting, and who have, changed their environments. But in my personal experience, I don't think I was ever in a position to do so. So I'm speaking on my targeting from the position of a person who has really been in the same environment for an extended period of time. So I was able to, learn from the experience and see how these type of individuals operate, especially in small towns when it comes to gang stalking. How many individuals are really connected in this type of effort. And that's why I say, all of our targeting is different. You got TIs who have moved state to state to state. You have TIs who have went overseas. You have TIs who have never left their hometowns. And, in some of our cases, obviously, resources play a huge role in that. And I appreciate anybody who has shown support to me in that way, who has really looked out for me, because it goes a long way. When you're staying out of your vehicle, or to the TIs out there who are currently homeless, whatever situation you're in, any type of help goes a long way. And that's why I just want to say, the most we can do is speak on what we experience to the best of our ability from, our own perspective. Somebody may have a different perspective. Somebody may have been in more areas than you. Somebody may have experienced a different form of targeting, but that doesn't discount the fact that you've been through what you've been through, and any effort to speak on what targeted individuals go through is beneficial for all TIs. That's how I view it. And so that's why I tell TIs, like, having faith in the Most High God, and really being aware of the tactics of those who perpetrate these things against us. This is going to be what really keeps you going. This is going to be what really, really fortifies you and gives you that strength and motivation to push forward. Because all a person can do is try to speak life into you, but it's up to you to really, carry that out. It's up to you to try to improve and basically survive in your life to the best of your ability, because, not everybody has the same hand given to them, and not everybody has the same support systems, and not everybody can move the same way. So that's why I feel like there's not no one targeted individual who gets it the worst than others, or who's the top TI, because this is not a competition at the end of the day. I'm not here to make anybody feel good, but if you, find understanding or comfort in what I speak on, then I'm grateful for that. But at the same time, this is real life. This is from real life experiences, and people will try to make this a competition or an ego thing, when really, nobody should be experiencing organized stalking as a whole, gang stalking as a whole. Nobody should have their whole support systems turned on them. Nobody should have their family involved in this. Nobody should be being gang stalked and harassed by local authorities up to like a, governmental level with the fusion centers and so forth. And so that's why I say I feel America is going to receive the worst judgment from the Most High. And that's just my opinion, just based on what TIs have gone through and based on where a lot of this roots from. And the West has a huge influence on the rest of the world. So with that being said, I'm thankful for anybody who has shown love, anybody who has shown support, who has helped me resource-wise as well. I'm still staying out of my vehicle, but I'm making the most of it. And, I'm still keeping my distance away from specific family members who are involved in my targeting, just to, protect my peace of mind. And I'm not saying everybody's family's involved in their targeting, right? But to the TIs who have figured out that their family do play a role in it, that's for you to relate to. But with that being said, I hope y'all have a good rest of y'all's day. And if you took anything from this video, that's enough for me, because at the end of the day, there's not one video, there's not one person, there's not one message that is going to bring, a full solution to this. And that's why the collective is powerful as a collective to really bring these things to light.